Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. We're gonna open up the soda right there. Delicious. All right, I'm gonna keep working on stuff. Let's see. So I'm expanding what Rusty Dust can do. Let's load the game. So I have to send packets the way I'm trying to access them. Yeah, see, I got 64. So what I need to add to the packet next is dropping the item stack down. Let's see, so let's go into here. We're going to create another variable. I'm going to call this item slot. We'll say main hand equals from player dot entity dot active and item slot. There we go. So let's do this. Let me say main hand. If main hand is not empty, right? So it's something that we could tick down. Then I could do main hand dot, I think it's take out 1. And then just to be sure, I'll do main hand dot mark dirty. That way the client gets it as well. Which means in Rusty Dust, anywhere that I'm trying to do a take out here, I'm gonna keep that one in. I'm gonna keep that one in. This one I could take out. Brickaloper, yay! How's it going? Back at it again. I am normally at it. I'm feeling the more I work on the mod, the better I'm feeling about like all the changes. Pretty sweet. You know, I gotta look at this though, right? Because I'm trying to transition. Oh, that's a transition. Ooh. Let's take a look at this and see. Okay, there are 2 references. So the Flux item core is 1. And the item Rusty Dust is the other. So that's the core. Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's just delete that for now. I can simplify this a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that makes a little more sense, but let's go back again. So I have 1 reference, and it's just right here. So why don't we go into this packet, and I will just add the logic. The logic that I need. All right, let's go under network messages. Crap. I knew I was going to lose my place. I knew it. There we go. This is all I need. All right, so I'm going to copy this, bring it up here. Probably want to do it right at the end, just like that. All right. Let's fireball this in. So now I should be able to convert items directly with Rusty Dust. So that makes the stone here. Let me do that. That makes the new flux core rod. Let me just double check. So I'm at 61 because I picked up a stone, made another stone that made that rod. So, and as long as I'm still at 61 and those items are still there, and then the block is gone, the blocks are gone. Yep, which is exactly what happened. All right, so that is working well. Now let's, I think what I'm gonna do, I expanded part of the system here to be able to reward you for using, like, converting something into, like, an item at the expense of your mana. But I don't think I want to reward you with a lot of experience here. It's, let me make sure I don't have any other... Okay, good. I don't have anything else there. So I think what I'm gonna do is come down to here. For Enchanted Stone, you won't get any experience. For this, you know what? I'll give you a little spritz of it. There we go. So let me take a look at things here. All right, so I shouldn't get any experience for this. So we're at 39%. There we go. So it did cost me 2 mana, and I'm still at 39%. So that's good. With this, here, let's step back in. Top myself off. Bam. So that one took 5 mana, and I'm at 40.7. So I did gain some mana. Boop. Oh, I forgot I made this to where you could hold it in your offhand. I forgot. Okay, so that kind of fixes that. Now I gotta think. So I got the new wands. This is what the wands look like here. I still have to make different versions. I'm probably not going to have the temporal aspect of it there. Each wand, because I have 3 different tiers, each wand's going to have its own, you know, its own thing. I got to fix the particles for transmutation. They're broken. Coulter, hello. How are you? There we go, and I can still move things around there. You'll notice I improved this a little bit more. I added more detail to the GUI here. You can see, depending on the staff you have, I put some of the Arcanus from the staff into the GUI. The slots 1, 2, and 3 are now all the same color, and I have the spell name up top. I may make that name maybe a little smaller. Nah, maybe it's okay. I think it's all right. And we have the primitive proto-wand, the runed proto-wand, and the resonant proto-wand. Proto-wand. All right. So I guess I could. We're gonna change the proto-wands to not all be the same texture. We'll do that first. You know what? I'm gonna leave it as is. That's something that I'll get feedback. I'm hoping to have a test build, like an alpha build soon for the supporters to kind of play with the new spellcasting system, you know, see how things feel. Get something together here to where, like, I want you to be able to step through, like, the beginning, right? So you unlock magic. How do you make your first wand? You know, how do you got to clay form this, right? Cast transmutation on it. Create your slabs and start making items. I wanna get like a basic gameplay loop together for people to dive in. The spell name is a very welcome addition. Yeah. And you'll notice too, I made the icon size smaller. These are the same, but the icon was like much bigger. It was too bulky. It was just too bulky. All right, so I need to start thinking about tablets. I have most of what I need in, I mean, you have to be able to create the proto-wand. I'm not sure how I'm going to have you do that. I created a new item here, as you probably saw before. There it is. The Flux Core Rod. I figure this item is going to be... one of the staple items that you can make in the beginning. And I still I have to come up with a way for you to take this rod and then use either bone or wood to create your wand. And I don't want to use... I want to try and come up with like a fun way to do it. Hey, Spetsy. You know, like a fun little gimmicky kind of way. But I don't know. Like I'm just trying to stay away from, yeah, you throw it in a crafting grid, you know? Congratulations. Leave me alone. So, I don't know. Right, because if you have like a bone or a stick, right? So let's just let's get a stick. Right, so ideally you have the stick and you have this rod item here. And you get that rod item from like a torch and using rusty dust on it. And I'm gonna have to... I would like to do some kind of like animation where like you like throw it, you know what I mean? Like you kind of throw it and then the particles come down. I would like to do that, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this or not. This was just kind of like a proof of concept. See, I don't know. The problem here is in creating the item. It's like, do you channel magic into it? Do I make it like a block around this flux core rod, you know, and then you have a bone in your hand, or you know what I mean? Like, does a bone go in your offhand? Do you use this item? I'm not really sure how I should do things. I'm not even sure if this flux core rod is going to stay. Because maybe I could do something where like you have to put like a stick in your main hand, and then I can have rusty dust go into your offhand, and then I can add a behavior to the stick that says like, hey, if you're trying to be used, right, and then you see that there's rusty dust in the main hand, then run this logic to consume mana and turn it into a wand. But I have to be careful with the stack size for those, right? Because you can have up to 64. Where would I put the wand? You know what I mean? Like, I can't do a replacement. I'd have to, like, spawn it in the world and, like, drop it at your feet. But, I don't know. Maybe I should do that route instead of this flux core rod stuff. I think it should be similar craft to the club where you gotta place a stick and a knife together. It's a piece of firewood, but that's in the crafting grid. I don't wanna have this made in the crafting grid, right? Like, this is my opportunity to detach from it as much as I can. So if I'm gonna use a stick or a bone, and I gotta think of item balance as well, right? So do you use rusty dust? You know what? Maybe you don't use rusty dust. Maybe you use a shifting fiber. Well, okay, so what if I do this? Maybe you do some mini game where you gotta channel magic into it, make the tip low or something. How would I even do that? Like, I have no idea how to even do that. It doesn't... See, the thing is, like, it shouldn't be too complex. The idea is you just unlock magic. You know, you got a mana bar, you probably haven't seen it before. I'm assuming you haven't seen it before. And then I have to tell you, like, hey, yeah, to make a wand, simply... blah. You know? Whatever it is. So unfortunately, depending on what I choose here, there's not a good choice. You could place sticks and bones on the ground, but you know what I mean? Like, you could put 4 sticks down. Like, what do I do? Do I have to get, like... because this right here is a block, which has an internal inventory that's saved with, like, tree attribute tagging. You know, so I can't... There's no easy way to be like... yeah, just convert that stick and using string and mana. You know what I mean? Because it becomes so much more complex. doing with this. And same thing with bone. You could do the same thing with the bone, right? So I'm dealing with all items. So let's pull out like shifting fibers here, right? So you would like use the item, but I would have to. So I'd have to put on the collectible behavior on the stick and the bone, and I would have to hope that it doesn't conflict with anything extra that anyone's adding, right? I remember at one point the butchery mod had, you know, where you'd put like a bone in your offhand and then you would use the knife to like carve the bone to get like the bone hooks or whatever, right? So I would have to make sure that what I add isn't going to get in the way of stuff like that. It kind of seems like I'm either going to patch bones and sticks to be able to put them in your offhand, which if someone else is applying a patch, right? Like, I mean, who overrides what? I don't like that solution. Oh man, I hate to say it, the best way I can think of to do this is to pick this apart. You place a stick down. Place a GD stick down. And then you get the shifting fibers. And then you do like that, right? With your shifting fibers. Costs, like 5 mana, and then you got your wand. I think that's gonna be the best way to do this. All right. I think that makes sense, right? That'd be an easy way to do it, right? Because you could put down a stick or you could put down bone. And then so the idea is you used Rusty Dust to unlock magic. I make this ground storable too. I mean, at this point, here, let's put that down and throw that out. I mean, this is basically a 4-slot inventory. I'd have to make everything ground placeable. Oops. Hey, Pavadian. I think the actual non-imbued stick thing, which is the first step towards the wand, could be a gridcraft, but then make the next step in world the transformation of this carved stick into the magic wand. So you are suggesting I add a step in with the stick and the bone to create a new item that you would then use, like a one-time crafting grid. Because this is the end result. Beautiful, this is. Beautiful. Actually, I whipped it together in 5 minutes. I will give myself 5 minutes. Like, it was literally just slap, slap, slap. Throw some textures on, and then I walked away from it. Yeah, I'm trying not to overthink it, but I need to also overthink this a little bit, right? Like, this is the time to get it right. So if it's going to take a little extra, but the idea is solid, I don't mind that. I just don't want it to be confusing for people. I meant that there should be an intermediate step or sort of intermediate item. The carved stick, which is crafted sort of like the club. Well, I would have to have 2 intermediate items, right? Because you can get either the bone wand or, just the regular wooden wand. And see, that's the problem. So I want to make sure whatever way I make this, you know what I mean, that it makes sense. And I think it would be cool to use, like, hey, you know what? You want like a proto wand for basic transmutation? It costs you 5 mana. Hold this item, you know, hold like maybe whatever, like rusty dust in your main hand, and in your offhand hold a bone, and then put the two together. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you kind of channel, and then bam, you got yourself your wand, right? I think that's a more memorable way of getting an item than crafting grid. You know what I mean? And then having like an intermediate step, that's an item that will only forever be like, you know, just the flat tire. You know what I mean? Like, I would have to try and incorporate a use for that item outside of the first, you know, 2 minutes that you've unlocked magic. Maybe you gotta meditate with carved stick in hand or something like that. I had thought about that. I thought about, like, well, you could hold a stick. Do you think that would work? Because I never really see, so this is gonna be a problem. I remembered why I stopped thinking about it. So let's say you get a stick, right? You get a stick, you go into meditation, and then I allow you to meditate, and then maybe if your mana is full and you're meditating, or you know what I mean, because it can't conflict, right? Like, you know, if you hold, like, if you have a stack of 4 and then you just walk away by accident and just go to try and sit down and meditate, and then I am creating a wand and then creating another one and creating another, you know what I mean? Because as soon as you create one, then, you know, it's going to take away mana, but you're already meditating, so I'd probably have to put in a stop at that point for meditation. All right, and then as soon as you kick back into meditation after the configured time, then you would start getting mana, draining your stability, and then you get max mana again, and you have a stick still in your hand because you went up to use the bathroom and you didn't realize that, you know, you were just sitting for RP purposes. That's kind of where I went with it. Like, how do I do this? Now, I could put a check in that's like, you have to have like an item stack of 1 for like a stick, or an item stack of 1 for a bone. And then it takes like 5 or 10 mana or whatever, right? And then boop, you got it. And then at that point, I could do a swap directly on your hotbar, right? So it just kind of turns into it. You think that would work? I built most of that foundation for that system, that kind of thing, because I already had to put in checks to not have you meditate all the time when you sat. Or you got to build some sort of mini structure where you where either you drop the wand somewhere and meditate in front of it, or you gotta hold it and meditate. But I don't want to build more structures, right? Like, this is kind of like an engineering. You ever hear of like the? Oh god, I'm having a brain fart on the word. This is like a fun problem that like an engineer would come up with, right? Because it's only fun when you have to abide by restrictions. You know, so the main restrictions here is I don't want to add another thing. You know what I mean? Like another system for you to make items. This is the system, right? The Thaumic Foundry. But you need transmutation for my idea to clay form this, right? You clay form it, you catch transmutation, you know, it converts, awesome. So I wanna be clever with it. You know, I wanna be clever with it. But then I have to think of the future too. If I do something with the meditation system and you make a wand that way, how do you make the tier 2 version of the wand? You know what I mean? Like, do you have to make the old wand and treadmill through it, right? And be like, oh, well, I gotta meditate on this. It's gonna cost me 10 mana, which at this point I've got like 200 mana, so it's more of an irritation. You know? Like I could probably put like a tablet kind of thing in. Okay, I just had a thought. Why? No, you still need a wand. I'm like, well, to clay form it, there's nothing that says I need to cast transmutation on this to convert it. Like, I have this system now that I just made, right? Like, you have the clay form version of this. You use the rusty dust on it. It costs like 10 mana to convert this into the block. You're good to go. You know what I mean? Like, why not? Why not? Or maybe you could even tie in something like clay form, sort of pedestal for the wand. You put the stick to it, and at midnight, if you meditate in front of it, magical particles appear, and it transforms into a wand. I mean, that sounds cool, Crickerloper. That sounds cool. That sounds like a lot of work for the first 2 minutes that someone's going to play, and then they have their wand. You know what I mean? So I mean, let's really open the floor. Maybe I'm being too strict with my idea. Should there be a kind of thaumic workbench that doesn't that isn't something you actually interact with, and then you have to like throw a stick on it, right? You know what I mean? Then I guess meditate and look at it, but it can't conflict with the meditation insight system to reward mana. I mean, it's an idea. It's not a bad idea. That's actually a really cool thing that I could see like maybe later down the road, right? You have this like the soul well, and you throw items into it. Now you got to meditate and look at it, or you know what I mean? Something like that. Well, if you're trying to avoid edge cases like that, what if you need to meditate while looking at a charged waystone? The end result uncharges the stone and transfers the energy to the wand. Well, remember, Spetsy, I'm thinking about the initial gameplay loop. You just unlocked magic, so you have probably 1 rusty dust. If you harvest 1 plant, though, right? Then you probably use that rusty dust to unlock magic. So you have 1 shifting fiber, and then what you would find normally, right? Like a stick or a bone. Bone would have more durability if you make your wand out of that. And then you have mana as a resource. Right? So this is the constraint that you have to try and get the wand, right? To really like open up the mod. I had considered like, what if I make a water source block and it's like magic water? But then I'm like, well, what is it going to do? You know what I mean? Besides that. Because I was thinking like for Ars Magica, right? Like you would get like a book, you would find like the magic water in World Gen. You'd throw a book into it and it would, you know... Or wasn't it like you had to have like the item frame above and you put the book in with the water underneath and it like did its little magic stuff, and then boo, you got the, you know, you got the guidebook, and then I think like the water like healed you when you were in it, the magic water. But that's gonna be World Gen, right? Like that's gonna be like, well, now I gotta create a process for you to get this magic water if it's not World Gen. You know, does the Rust Mage submerge himself in that body of water? Like, who knows, right? Or what if you have to throw the stick into a rift? You can't do that, Crickerloper, because rifts do not have collision boxes. There's no selection box, there's no collision box. They are points in a global list that hold their position. It holds a position. It may be able to do something with like a lower temporal stability place. When a rift opens, that block space, that airspace, has a reduced, pretty much 0 if you're right in the rift. Maybe I could do something Something like that? What do you think? But then when you throw the object, right? Like, what are you going to throw? A stick or a bone? I still have to attach a collectible property to it, right? Or a collectible behavior. But I'm kind of feeling this. Like, what if you have to use the rift to make your starter wand, right? Like, you just unlock magic and you already have a rift. So what does that look like? I think maybe the easiest way to do this is be like, yeah, you know what? Stick your head in a rift, and then get shifting fibers in your main hand, place a stick or a bone in your offhand, and then, you know, you do like the use, right? And I put the little particles around you, and then maybe it costs like 5 mana, and then a combination of those things, your head in a rift, blah blah blah, create your wand. I mean, at that point, though, I just described a system that you could just remove the rift from, right? Like, oh, well, yeah, you know, you hold the shifting fibers and you put the stick in your hand, and then you channel your mana into it. This is what I've been thinking about for like the past couple of days. How the heck do you do this? What's gonna feel good, right? What do other mods do? You know, but I'm from the what I've seen, it's like, well, this is a spell book, right? So Minecraft has like books that you get pretty early in the game, right? So it seems like significantly less effort. You could have like a whole library if you want. You know, it's like, well, I don't want to gate it by that. I would like to use mana, and it's gotta, like, the requirements here are, it needs to use mana, and it needs to use the bone or stick item as a secondary thing, right? Because I don't want to attach a property that other mods can screw with. So that's kind of where we're at. Even making it to where, like, the bone or stick can go in the offhand is a gamble, you know? And then I thought, like, well, what if I do something like you use, at the time it was Rusty Dust, right? You use Rusty Dust, and then I can search through your inventory to find, you know, like how the bow and arrow work. But I'm like, but now I have to, you know, I have to worry about the positioning of your items and then parse everything through. And what if you didn't want to use a bone, right? But you had one on you, and you know what I mean? Like, there's... it's like I could just imagine, you know, the feedback, right? Good time zone, everyone! Yeah, then make the intermediate item and add the extra logic so that you don't have to touch the code for the sticks or bones themselves. Thaumcraft 4 had their first wand be a stick and 2 copper wand caps. And everything beyond that, you had to infuse the caps and find rarer sticks. And the final craft would also require essence. Yeah, wasn't it like silverwood? Am I thinking about that right? The original version was iron wand caps because copper was not vanilla. Yeah, okay. I mean, guys, is it a cop-out to just make this something that you throw a stick in your personal crafting grid with, like, shifting fibers, rusty dust, and a knife? You know what I mean? Especially with my stance, like, I don't want to have, like, many things, like, you know what I mean? Like, recipes like that? Is that too much? Silverwood was one of them, yeah. Silverwood was tier 3. Greatwood, yeah, I remember Greatwood. It is not too much. I think using the rift for this craft would be pretty cool. I like the idea of using the rift as well. I just want it to make sense. You know, people, you know, like I said, we're on the idea of like what's cool and what's not. I thought it was cool using like the rift anchors, you know, rifts and rift anchors and flowers and stuff to like do live conversions of things when they're around. People complain about it. They don't like it. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. I know I'm not gonna make everyone happy, but I just want it to make sense, right? Because if you're using a rift, then you are pretty much also using temporal stability as your resource as well. Hmm. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I do have some other things to work on here. We also, you know, we're talking about all this. We have to brainstorm the tablets, right? So let's say you do blah, blah, blah. You got your wand, right? You clay form this bad boy, place it down, transmutation, boom. You got this, right? Your Thaumic Foundry. What do you do after that? How do you get these? Right? Like, because right now, my first initial thought was, well, napping, right? It could be a napping recipe. Be totally acceptable to be a napping recipe. Unfortunately, like you can here, let's get enchanted stone, right? That's like the first item that you early item that you can make, right? But I already have these sigils set up for napping on this stone. And I can't use, like, if I use regular stone, then any person is going to be able to, even a non-magic user, is going to be able to nap these tablets. Right? So I can't have it be any vanilla kind of stone, because then everyone's going to have access to it. So at this point, I'm thinking, like, well, enchanted stone, is it, you know what I mean? Like, how, right? Like, so I put the tablets in here, but you would be able to nap these without unlocking the achievements or having any idea what world magic is. And you're like, oh, looks like this is used in rituals. Like, is that too much, right? Is it gonna feel good? Oh, and another thing I have to figure out, I am not sure if you could have multiple things, because, like, I want you to be able to, like, shape the tablet, but I don't want to make, like, 30 unique, patterns that you got to do. It's going to be the same kind of pattern, right? I want to make the one for Arcanus, bop, 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 and then got it. Same thing with, like, clay forming. I guess I could use clay forming with it. But again, right, anyone would be able to use, unless I make my own type of clay for the mod, which I'm not going to do. Rusty dust or shifting fiber in the offhand, the stick in the main hand to meditate. Like you do with the rusty dust to unlock magic. Yeah, we've talked about that too. There are ways I could make meditation work on it. So Zalsec, my thought after that was gonna ask the question. All right, you have 3 different wands, right, for the different transmutations. So that's the primitive. What do you do about making a better wand, right? Like, is it still the basic stick, bone, and then it's like an Arcanus, or you know what I mean? Like, what is the main item that you would use there, right for that? And also, yeah. Hey, I wish I knew. I'm having a brain fart. But I've done a lot of work on this. A lot of work on this mod, fixing a lot of things. This doesn't crash anymore. Unfortunately, to make it not crash, I had to set it to not be able to take a stack all at once. It will still do individuals. So if I throw in, like, you don't really notice it. This is more like hurting my pride more than anything, right? So if I throw in that ingredient, oh yeah, the rusty dust, it has the tagging on it, right? So if I throw out, see, like, the stacks, it's not going to read the stacks. You have to, like, throw things out with Q. So here, if I reset this, and we will bunch of these out. There we go, that's good enough. Put the tablet back in. Where did my crystal go? I adminated it, didn't I? Huh. Oh, it's putting the tag on it. I gotta figure that out too. But it's not crashing anymore. Like, you have to, you know, throw the items in. Could be said that the Rift infuses the stick, and then you can use it to cast transmutation to transform stuff in the world, just like the Rust world does. Cricker Loper, I did just think of this. It's probably not a good idea to use the Rift to make this, because what if it's calm, and you're just starting out, and you went through your wand, and now you have to wait X amount of game time to be able to, you know what I mean, to be able to make your wand, because there are no rifts out. Like, when you're later on, right, yeah, you can do the ritual to, like, force spawn a rift, but I know there have been, like, multiple, like, in-game days where it's just calm, you know? Like, there's nothing to do. You can't really get seeds or anything, you know? You can't do any grocery shopping. Everything's closed. I guess that'd be my one argument against using rifts in this particular aspect. Different tiers of Arcanus for the higher tiers of wands would be good. I'm actually going to be making a change to the Arcanus. It's not going to be like Arcanus, Primal Arcanus, and you know what I mean? So Arcanus is going to be the tier 1, like, mana gem. The tier 2 mana gem's going to be the, probably Chimerite. And then I'm gonna come up with another random tier 3. I want them to be different, right? So, like, the regular Arcanus, the recipe may change a little bit, but right, you got a couple crystals, and well, really, it's gonna be one crystal, and then, you know, a couple other things. What I'm gonna do with the Chimerite is you're going to get the Ash for tier 2, because that's when you unlock the Celestial Prism and the Devouring Void. So it's going to be a combination of the 3 ashes plus, like, a quartz or something, or you know, like the medium rust stone or rust crystal or whatever to create that, right? So I'm going to try and come up with different, and I see what you mean. But again, you made the primitive without any, right? So now all of a sudden you're using it. I'm trying to reserve those for stabs and, like, you know, that kind of, like, higher level, like, armor spell casting, because by the time you can make it, right, you're a little further in. You already have your wand. You got, you know, quite a few tablets. You should have the Arclight Furnace set up. You know, you should have at least one obelisk kind of linked together, right? You have, like, a little kit, right? And now you know, you're doing the spell forge. Now you probably have enough material to make Arcanus. Famous last words. I'm not sure how much comm activity is a detriment. It is a huge detriment. There have been plenty of times needing a rift and didn't have the resources to just throw at spawning one yet, and just did other things. There's always other things that need doing, resources that need gathering. Yeah, that's true, but I am forcing your hand. If you feel like doing magic stuff, then you can't. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't feel good to, like, be like, well, sorry, you know, in your server right now, or you're in the middle of something and all of a sudden, you know, the stability, like, you're getting rifts now, and then you feel pressure to, like, stop what you're doing, because you gotta you deal with it now because, you know, it's been calm for a couple of days, and yesterday you wanted to, you know, make some stuff, but you know, need more seeds, and your plants are still growing, and, you know, you need a couple more crystals. Now you need to make your wand, you know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden it becomes like a rush, you know, and I'm okay with giving you some pressure, right? Like seeds, you know, like strike while the iron's hot. You know, same thing with, you know, the crystals, but it would be a major restriction just starting out, right? Until you unlock, you know, rituals. I gotta think about, like, make a way that you're not really interacting with the rifts more than you already would be, right? Because think of this too: when you first start out, you need to wait for rifts, right? And it takes what, 3 in-game days before, you know, that grace period's over by default for you to start seeing rifts, right? Is it still like that in Worlds? So I'm trying to think of like that experience, right? And that's to be able to try and harvest a seed. And then, right, now you got to plant that, and you have to wait an additional 4 in-game days to be able to get your rusty dust. You know? Yeah, unless you custom a server, right? I was dropping everything for high activity anyways, to be honest. Higher returns into loot box hunting time. You already conditioned me. I'm trying to move away from it. You should not be okay with this. So guys, okay, so let's say I do use meditation, right? You have a stick in your main hand. Maybe I have you put a shifting fiber in your offhand. You go into meditation. If your mana's full, you will maybe start like to begin the process of imbuing your mana. I create some particles, right? Bam! You just turn that stick or, you know, bone into a wand. Like that. It's probably the best we're gonna get, I assume. And I think that's something you could do right away, you know, because I give you 10 mana to begin with. You don't have anything to use, you know, for like your spells. You don't have transmutation yet. All right, let's do that. Let's add that. Oh my god, it's like 4:30 already. Jesus Christ! All right, let's see if I can do this. We're gonna rush job this because that's gonna end well. We have to go into magic knowledge, and I need meditation. Meditation logic. So right in here, let's see how easy this is going to even be to bolt on here. So it would be in the meditation mana regen. This is the 1 second ticker for it. I keep hearing like doors open and close. It's freaking me out. Current mana. So it would be the other end of this statement here. Possibly. What did Passive Ice do? So if you are actively meditating and your current mana is less than your max mana, right? Then it goes into all this stuff. So I can just minimize that. Maybe I need to put like a nested if statement in here, right? So I could say, so if that's the case, do that. Else. Right? So else, if you're meditating and your current mana, I'll do it greater than or equals to your max mana. Just in case something ticks weird, I'll just account for it. Now this is going to be running a whole separate process, huh? I have to create like a secondary ticker that like maybe waits 5 seconds. All right, so me think about this. Best way to accomplish this. I think I have a ticker for the tier up system. That's just if it's... okay, so here, if meditation is active, I start spawning particles. Yeah, so I called it this for the counter. All right, so I'm going to create another ticker. And for this, I will say... wand creation. I'll do meditation wand creation counter. We have to go back into meditation where I am right here. And I'm going to, let's see, let's say if I can say meditation counter is greater than 1F, right? So every second, do this. Another thought, to cut down on edge cases, you could have it be a meditation while looking at a small crystal. Consumes the crystals, so you don't have to worry about them making a dozen wands while AFK. And if they got dust, they likely got crystal, especially since elementals drop them. Yeah, I initially thought about using the crystal for this. I could, but I will say this, the thing that made me not want to use the crystal was the fact that the drop rate's really low, right? Because right now, you could place stones around a rift, and I think it's just like a really low drop rate to be able to get a rust crystal. You could also get it from... maybe, is that okay, you think, for people to, like, work on? I mean, basically, it's like trying to harvest seeds. You put down a bunch of stones, and you get 1 or 2 crystals, and that should tide you over, right? And then I can have it to where you... Because I don't need to have it like a meditation insight use case, right? So, I mean, I could. I just don't know what will benefit from it, right? So I could have something where you're talking about you put the crystal down. Oh, I can't. Because these crystals already are part of meditation insight. So they're already using that to reward you with max mana. So I'm not going to be able to use that. Now I could do something where, like, maybe this is in your hand. And then... Or in your... Well, I'd have to make it to where it needs to go in your offhand. I'd rather just have shifting fibers. Right? Like, you hold on to your wand and maybe shifting fibers or whatever. There we go, I'm meditating. Now, there's always something, huh, in these things. Could even change the color of the wand tip based on the crystal used, like the old wands did. I could, but I'm not. Because then people are going to be like, I got a red tip, why am I not shooting fireball? You know? Like, because you got to make the grimoire. You know, it just does transmutation. You got to be careful about that. I took out all those wands. Took out all those wands because I got tired of hearing about how useless they were. I don't know why you ever make those wands. I'm like, man, do you know how much effort it took to, like, put those in? Can we not shit all over the idea? You know? You just take a step back, maybe. Let's see. This needs to be a float. Why do I have this as an int? There we go. You know, I really should move this up here. Copy this. Yeah, then I would have to accumulate it with delta time. So in here, this needs to accumulate with delta time. All right, so I need this here. All right, so you start off meditating. You eventually... Yeah. Right, so you eventually get above a second, and then I tick it. So it's not an exact second, right? Because you can get some drift between the client and server, but it's estimated about a second. So first thing I have to do is run the code, and then I'm going to have to set it back to 0 so it can start accumulating to tick again. And then in here is what I would need to do. I'd have to do something like if... Oh, because now I need an actual counter. That's what my confusion was. So this is going to be the ticker. Then I will copy this, paste this in. This is going to be the counter. I could do this. There we go. So this will be the ticker. There we go, and this will be the counter. Counter there. So if this dot meditation wand creation. Did I spell that wrong? Did I spell it right? I did. You meditation creation, Jesus Christ. Counter. It was so weird because I love those wands. Yeah. Well, you know, everyone just... This is the problem, though. The game isn't really... There's not a lot of meat, a lot of jelly in the donut of difficulty in this game. Right? I feel like in Minecraft, you have all of these accumulative steps, and like the overworld has like a maximum difficulty of X, right? Then you have the Nether, right? Then you have the end, and which you basically need like dying. You know what I mean? Like we don't have that. We have very few creatures that want to attack you. You got like what? Hyenas, wolves, the 3 rust creatures, the I guess you could say the bell and the locust. I guess you could say sheep when you get too close. You know what I mean? Like there's and if you actually look at the code for this stuff, most of the creatures, they're melee attacks, which is how everything besides the ones that shoot a projectile, right? That's how everything attacks. They're all tier 2 strength attacks. Except for, I think last I checked, the hyena was tier 0. So, how the hell do you balance for power there? You know what I mean? Like how... Show me the person with arrows. Show me the person who's making a bunch of steel arrows to get that extra 2.5 damage. You know damn well everyone's using maybe crude or flint. You gonna waste copper? Maybe, if you're already past it. You know what I mean? Like, this game needs kind of an overhaul of like the difficulty slide, you know? So when I have, you know, basically 4 tiers of magic, right? Tiers 0, which was the wands, and then 1, 2, 3 for the grimoires. You know, you have a theoretical maximum before the spell is just so overpowered and it's one-shotting everything anyways. You know what I mean? Like, it's... So, the more I stretch it out, the worse the beginning level spells are going to feel. And I think that's what was happening with the wand, right? It's like, well, it only costs you like 3 mana and it does like 3 or 4 damage. That's a pretty good mana to damage ratio. But then people were like, well, it doesn't travel far, it's kind of slow. Why not just use a bow? You know what I mean? Like, it was... It's like, because, like, I can't make it too good because then it shifts the balance of power to where you're one-shotting a polar bear with Fireball 3. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very weird kind of thing. Yeah, we were using steel arrows, but it's more about break chance than damage. Okay, so, I mean, that kind of still, you know, it proves my rant a little bit, right? It's, you're getting something different. You're not getting the damage out of it. The multiplier and steel arrows do more damage for them than steel flax. I don't hear anyone griping about the flax, although I guess maybe they are. I don't know. I just got tired of hearing, like, having it be compared to a bow and arrow. You know, I'm like, well, then just use a bow and arrow, you know? Leave me alone. I'm trying over here, you know? I'm trying, damn it. Let's see. I think I have to initialize this, don't I? Yeah. So let's go into here. Let's set the counter to be meditation wand. Here we go. Creation counter. I gotta do the same thing here. So this will be meditation wand creation counter. I'm gonna have to take this. We'll come down here. There we go. Now I need to come into here and say, meditation counter. Copy this, paste this in. I gotta really think about this logic. I'm gonna cut that out. Copy this and paste that in. We're just going to increment this, right? Every second that you are meditating, I want this counter to increase. I will put this down here, right? Because if you are not meditating, right? So if neither of these are true, and actually in here, I will put this right at the end. Right? So if you are regaining mana, it needs to reset that counter, right? Just to make sure it's 0. Then if meditation active, right? So now if you're meditating but you have full mana, I increase the ticker, right? So that's running, and every 1 second I reset it, and then we run this code which will increase the counter. So in here, I need to now say, if this counter is greater than or equal to 5, right? Now we can actually run the code here. I would have to... You know, I need to do one more thing. Let's cut this out. I'm gonna have to do another if statement because I don't want to be running a ticker or anything like that. I don't have to. We will pop an else here, and in this else, we'll put this in there. I don't have much time left, y'all. I don't have much time. Hey, we're on your side. Well, thank you. I do think tier 0 spells couldn't be damage spells. There was no good way to balance that. Took so long to fire close range that I can't really compete with flint weapons. IMO, that's more of a problem with vanilla weapons. Running into the same tier issues you're running into. Yeah. Flint spears are useful even when you're in the Iron Age. Honestly, that shouldn't be the case. And that's my point, right? Like, people are talking about how tough my elementals are, and I'm like, you guys watch me play, I have no armor on, and I have like 4 to 5 flint spears, and I'm wrecking everything. You know, like that's it. And you know what? I don't even need him to be flint. I just need him to be stone. Like I'll get stone spears. You know, like before I do any kind of balancing, like that's got to be addressed. Then sure, I can take a look at things, right? Reassess things. So if this, or I could do player, right? If player in dot actively held hand slot dot empty. So if in your main hand this is not empty and active slot dot item stack dot collectible dot code dot path dot equals, right? Because I can just say it equals stick, right? And just in case, I'm also going to go into here. I'm going to do collectible code domain equals, I'm going to make sure that it's just the game in case someone else puts in a mod that it's like bone, and then there's some weird interaction going on between the two. Just the game stick for now. We'll focus on that. And then it equals, I think it's just stick, right? Isn't it just stick? Yeah, it's just stick. There we go. Equals stick. I'm gonna cut this out. We're gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna put in or. And then I think this is just bone, but and we'll double check that. Yeah, game bone. So if it's one of those things, I will also put in here. I will do another and I will say stack size is less than or equal to 1. There we go. And the reason why I'm saying less than, I mean, it can't be 0. 0's a null stack. But, you know, I should just do a hard equals. Yeah. So if the stack size is equal to 1, so it needs to be individual, you have to be meditating with full mana, it's got to be a single thing, and then that's all. From there, I can start doing things, right? And after 5 seconds, I could take a snapshot of this, right? Copy. We can create a new item here, right in here. Item, new bond equals. It's gonna be let's do what? Player in world dot we'll just get item, right? We will say new set location. For this, I could do RMR references dot mod ID with colon plus the string, right? So I can make the item. I could default the item here. We can put in case I ever add more than one type of wand, I can say we'll do string currently held item equals this. Now I can cut all of this out. Instead of equals, it needs to be, I'll just do a contains bone. I already did the check in here. I mean, I could have it equal still. I don't really care at this point. It needs to be equals, you son of a bitch. How dare you? I used the Reaping Wand a lot, especially early game, to get the occasional rare seeds. Yeah, Reap and Ignite were like the main things that people used before. Like everything else, they're like, why bother putting a buff on you? Why bother? And I couldn't argue with it. You know, I thought it was good to get spells in people's hands faster, but it just didn't work out. Fortunately, this did not work out. Let's get the proto wands. But I think the new way, I think this is better overall. I think we're nailing it. There we go. So it's going to be in the format of proto wand. I'm going to put a default here. We'll do wood, tier 1. So if it equals stick, then have it this. This will be bone. Right. Now what I can do is I have to consume the item in your main hand. So I can just do this active slot dot. Well, I guess I can do this one of two ways, right? Do I just replace the item in your hand? Do I drop it? Why don't we just replace the item? I could just do item stack equals new item stack, and it's going to be new wand 1. What I also have to do is hop into here. We will mark it dirty. And I forgot, is this where I could put in true? I can't remember. No, okay, it's not. Okay, yeah, so this is from server to client. Perfect. Perfect. All right. And then what I'll do is, should I rebroadcast on your hotbar? I may not need to be that aggressive with it. Okay, we're going to have to restart because I just added some stuff. Now, there's not going to be any particles or anything besides meditation. I don't have anything in yet that's going to tell you that anything's happening. We're just going to have to count 5 seconds. And, right, and if this all works, then I can go in, tune it. We'll put some particles around. Good stuff. In. At this point, I'm gonna have to like ninja off. I may not be able to raid people. Here, I'll shut this off. We'll open up Twitch while I'm us is playing Valheim. What? Big star. Right. Oh, you won't be able to meditate because I do not recognize bones or sticks. So I have to do ore. I got to add them to this list. I feel like this is not safe. Oh well. Let's do dot collectible dot code dot dot equals. We'll say bone. Again, this is just for the test. And, I don't like this. I'm gonna make this a little more safe. I think I'll keep it up. Hey, look at that! Instantly start meditating. I should have put loggers here. Because it is not doing it. Oop, nothing. All right. I'm gonna have to put some print statements in. I probably missed something small. I did just shotgun a lot of this stuff in. Reaping Wand was so great. Did the job I needed to. Oh wow, the new way was made. IMO. It didn't feel amazing, but it was designed as good as it could be while not overshadowing tier 1 spells. Yeah, the new spells, because I'm not stretching it as much. Everything kind of got a power boost with the coming changes. So that's nice. Let's find someone to raid here. Let's see who we got. I don't know almost any of these people. I don't want to raid for Cuss and see watch a little Valheim. But I'm not gonna be able to watch anything. You know what? We're gonna raid, I guess, Percuss. Let's here get some ads rolling. Percuss. Wow, he's pretty deep in Valheim. You know what? Nah, yeah. I'm gonna raid someone else. I want to keep it in Vintage Story. Should we? Valeria, is she even playing?
I don't know.
She's just like talking. I don't want to see that. I don't want someone to be talking. I want to watch someone play. All right, look at this. Perfect. This person is just sitting there, staring off into the trees. Here we go. /raid. Patron Saint of Stank. I should have read the name, but all right, I guess we'll raid them. Oh, you know what? Wait, I could cancel. Hell yeah. That name's weird. We'll go with the person next to them. Rainy Day Theo. All right, Rainy Day Theo. There's no stank in it. Boom. See you, man. Awesome work. Thank you. Later. Talk to you on the next session. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Yeah, I'll probably end up finishing this tonight. I need to figure out, like, if anyone wants to help, throw in Discord your ideas on how I can give you tablets, right? Like, how are you going to make these tablets? Do you nap them? Do you just like hold right click and a GUI comes up and you pick the type you want it to be, and then it's like permanently that? You know what I mean? Like what does something like what does this look like? It would help me immensely, because it's been like 2 days now I've been thinking about this, and the only thing I could think of is make a new kind of stone, right? Like, you got this enchanted stone. Like, you know, like, is it so bad to see sigils that you cannot use yet? Maybe that's it, right? I can add everything here. And I got to see if you can repeat these patterns too. But all right, everyone, thank you so much. For that again, I'll brainstorm. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.